Gather round, hustlers. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego. Gather round, hustlers, to see if you still living, and get on down to that old Ego rhythm. We back with some more heat. Let's get it. It's about to go down. Man, it's cold in here. What type of weather y'all having? For me, it's kind of cold. It was raining real crazy yesterday. Oh, we gonna talk about this though, man. I can't wait. I told you I got to get my body count up by the end of this stream. If you listen, I'm gonna say it like this: by the end of this stream, if you don't get the picture, then you just refuse to, because I'm gonna make it so clear, so obvious. And if you watch it from start to finish, and you still don't get the point, and you still don't see where we coming from, then that's just because you choose to not understand and you choose to refuse to accept the new information. So that's the great part about learning. And I'm about to teach. I'm going to be real. Listen, I'm just warming up the mic right now. But once I get started, I'm not here for no distractions, nothing. This stream is going to be very locked in and we're going to be real surgical. I was actually going to do this as a video, but I decided to go live. So hopefully y'all don't make me regret that decision and we have a good show, you know, get the likes up, stuff like that. But I promise I will catch a body with this one. Like I said, I was going to just record this as a regular video, but I was like, you know what? I got the energy. Let me do a live. Let me do a live stream. So we got to get the likes up. You know, I don't know. YouTube keep playing this game with the lives. I don't care. They're not sending notifications. No one knows when I'm going live. That's cool. But the people that are in here, y'all got to do your part so we can get it cracking. Now, Gervonta Davis, Alex, what's up? Poppy Mall, he said he dealing with that 41-degree weather. Y'all better stop playing. That's crazy. Y'all better stop playing. Listen, I'm going to just warm the mic up right now. And once I get going, I promise I'm not stopping. Until I get these points out, it's on. You know, I'm surgical with this bit. Jake, I need my money. I listen, I'm straight to the money. Steph Curry. Shout out to the light skins. Shout out to the light skins. I'm straight to the money with this one because I see a lot of people hating. And I told you, on my channel, the great thing is this. WCPB, what's up? The great thing on my channel is this. I told you guys from the jump, I am a different animal when it comes to boxing talk. I've been doing this for a very long time at this point. So I'm in my zone. I'm in my element. It's easy for me. This becomes real easy. And you can go against what I'm saying, but you're going to be wrong. You young boys can't beat me. I promise you, when I spell this out and expose the double standards, there's nothing that I promise you, there's nothing nobody can say to make it make sense what old media is saying. So when I get like this, y'all just got to ride with me. Y'all got to ride with me. Y'all better buckle up. It's about to be over. So I'm trying to wait for YouTube to send a couple notifications. I'm ready to go. I'm like a dog off the leash. Let's go. Shout out to Isaiah. He already know the drill. Bro, I'm about to kill these boys. I'm going to kill them, bro. I promise you I catch a body. That's the only reason I decided to do this stream live is because I just want to increase my body count. That's it. When I put it in this perspective, if you choose not to acknowledge it, that's just because you're truly biased. Because everybody, it's funny in boxing, you have old media who claims to be the real boxing fans and they want the best versus the best. And they say things like, oh, Gervonta, he got to step up. He's giving us BS fights. He's cherry picking and, all the pressure's on him. So once I get going and I outline these things, then there's nothing you can say. So this is for starters. My man Isaiah said the agenda is clear as clean glass. Exactly. And I'm going to spray Windex on it so you really get the picture. If it ain't clear enough, I'm going to spray Windex on it. Listen, I'm going to spray Windex with my index. It's on. I promise you. Y'all hating crazy. Y'all hating crazy. And I'll prove that like I always do. And I told you, I operate with my back's against the wall. So when people like doubt and all that, that's where I really show up and that's where I really shine because, it gives me something to work against. So without further ado, let me just get into the concepts that we're talking. Now, from ESPN to Lomachenko to old media and boxing, some boxing fans and all that, they are hating on Gervonta Davis crazy, right? Now, this is the differentiating point. If what you were saying about Tank, you really meant, you would apply it to everybody. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can understand, like, let's say some old school boxing fan and they just like, back in my day, we didn't have no politics, and they just a stickler for that. And they're like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. This fight is what I want over this fight. But it's clear as day that there's an agenda being laid out and certain people are thrown under the bus, pressured, criticized, ostracized, insulted, whilst others aren't. And Gervonta Davis is so lit right now that the racists with old media and the biased fans cannot live with themselves, so they have to try to tear down what is going on. First, they lied to you and said that Lomachenko was a pound for pound number one, and they said he was a star. Like everybody was just tuning in for Lomachenko. The lie detector test determined that was a lie. Ain't nobody looking at his fights like that. He barely hit over 1 million on ESPN with Richard Comey. So you see how this is the semblance of the agenda being formed. Tank Davis has LeBron James and some of the best basketball players in the last 25 years all at his fight. Can't wait for him to fight. Let old media tell it. Tank Davis is fighting a cherry-picked bum, and it's a horrible fight, even though it's a replacement to Rolly. So big stars and celebrities in the past, like Drake, Shaquille O'Neal, Lil Wayne. Yeah, I'm single. Nigga had to cancel that. Like Nino, I ain't tripping on nothing. I'm sipping on something, and my homeboy say he got a bad bit for me tonight, right? Stars is out. But old media is telling you Tank ain't a star. Tank ain't bringing him out like that. Tank pay-per-view flopped. And they do tell you that Loma, he's the new Muhammad Ali. He's the best. He's the Matrix. He's the high tech. And he's on free TV, ESPN, broadcast, basic cable. And he's barely hitting over $1 million. Or excuse me, over 1 million views. So here's another thing. They're also telling you that Tank Davis, he got to step up the competition because, man, he's cherry picking. Nobody wants to see that. But Isaac Cruz, he beats him. And in a loss, Isaac Cruz's social media skyrockets. He went from 25,000 people on Instagram on the gram to being at Lakers games, and he has 170,000 plus followers or whatever his specific number is now. Meanwhile, Richard Comey, his stock didn't skyrocket. Richard Comey just fought Lomachenko. So let old media tell it. Richard Comey, oh, he's a former champ and he's the guy and he's the ultimate B-side, right? He's the ultimate B-side that he puts up the best of fights. So let's unpack this. Richard Comey is the ultimate B-side, but he was in a one-sided fight. And his stock didn't skyrocket, which is evident because he didn't really amass this following after the Lomachenko fight. If you look at Lomachenko after and before he fought Comey's numbers didn't jump up because it wasn't that type of performance. America, listen, I could speak for America. America likes winners. And even if you lose like Pitbull Cruz, he's still a winner. Tank told you that. He said the star was born. You know, he didn't get knocked out and he put up a hell of a fight, or he tried, blah, 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 right? So I'm confused. Richard Comey is supposed to be, he's a former champion and he's supposed to be the guy that everyone's watching. But then in reality, not that many people on free TV are watching. Like in comparison to Terrence Crawford does better numbers on ESPN Top Rank. They don't even promote his fights, which is probably why he's leaving. Terrence Crawford, look at his fight with Kell Brook. His fight with Kell Brook drew better than Lomachenko versus Richard Comey. So people are like, oh, Tank flopped and making up stuff. They don't have no access to any number. And they saying Tank flopped. Lomachenko's fighting on free TV against a sturdy guy that's supposed to be the ultimate B-side, and his numbers aren't even that great. Lomachenko's supposed to be this star, and he's not significantly doing better than fights like Miguel Berchelt and Oscar Valdez ratings. Now you're starting to see the agenda unfold. What would make people hate? Like this. Roll a clip.
This was supposed to be the year that the young guys took over the lightweight division, took over boxing. What happened?
It's a boxing, that's why we love boxing. Nobody knows what happened. I think now it's a more interesting weight classes in the world.
Who's the best lightweight?
We don't know because we didn't fight each other.
What did you see in Tank Davis and Isaac Cruz?
Now I understand why his promoter, Floyd Mayweather, don't wanna organize a fight with the other top fighters.
So is Tank Davis?
Lomachenko said, now I see why Tank's promoter doesn't want to organize fights with the other top fighters. So once again, that's suggesting that Richard Comey he's the ultimate like B-side guy, and Pitbull Cruz at age 23, who put up a better fight than Richard Comey. You know, what are we talking about? So Mayweather had to replace Rolly for obvious reasons. Mayweather promotion, they had to replace Rolly for obvious reasons. Tank's mandatory. So they stuffed him in there with Isaac Cruz, who truly came to fight so much to the point where his stock rose because he didn't get knocked out and he showed that he's a game fighter and he's willing to try to take it there to get the victory. So now people like myself, they want to see Isaac Cruz again. We can't wait to see him come back, maybe even fight, hopefully, like someone like Ryan Garcia, so we can see, a fight like that. Richard Comey, on the other hand, he lost a shutout. He lost every single round, damn near, and he didn't even put up a fight. So somebody got to be lying to you. So he says that Tank won't fight nobody.
Fight with the other top fighters.
Watch this.
So is Tank Davis a great fighter?
No, of course not.
What about?
Is Tank Davis a great fighter? Of course not.
Fighters.
So is Tank Davis a great fighter?
No, of course not.
What about?
This man, Lomachenko, really fixed his lips to say Tank Davis is not a great fighter. And then he talks about Devin Haney. So, two black fighters you get asked about, and you don't seem highly impressed. You say Tank is not a great fighter. Let's listen to what he said about Devin Haney, another black fighter.
But Devin Haney, Jojo Diaz.
It was a close fight, but Diaz was bigger clean punches than Haney.
He said the Devin Haney fight with Jojo Diaz was close. I didn't have that close at all. Devin Haney mopped him to me. So I didn't have it close. He then says that Jojo Diaz was landing the better punches.
Haney, but of course, Haney was more aggressive.
Right.
So let me get this straight. According to Lomachenko, Tank is not a good fighter or a great fighter. Of course not. And Tank, I see why, after watching the Cruz fight, I see why his promoter didn't put him in tough fights. Then flip-flop to another black fighter, because they fought back-to-back days, Saturday and Sunday. So the night before, Devin Haney had a completely different style of fight. And according to Lomachenko, the fight was close and Jojo was landing the better punches. But Devin was the aggressor? I'm confused.
Haney and Jojo Diaz.
It was a close fight, but Diaz was bigger clean punches than Haney. But of course, Haney was more aggressive.
Ryan Garcia.
Wow. So Lomachenko believes. So, and this is funny. This was funny about old media. This is what's funny about old media. Even if you wanted to criticize Tank Davis, let's say you just didn't think he looked good, or, you know, he struggled. And mind you, he had a messed up hand, which we'll get to in a second. But let's just say, hypothetically, you didn't think that a black fighter, Gervonta Davis, had a good showing. I don't think that's the case, but I'm just playing devil's advocate. So let's just pretend that you thought Gervonta was in very tough and it was much more difficult, whatever. The night before, Devin Haney's fight didn't even play out like a Pitbull Cruz and Tank fight. So how is it that both black fighters that fought on back-to-back nights, you're seemingly not impressed with either of them, and both Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis had two different styles and two different, fights, and you're not seemingly impressed? But then you're asked about Ryan Garcia. This is what Loma had to say.
Punches than Haney, but of course, Haney was more aggressive.
Ryan Garcia.
You know what? He surprised me. Then I saw his fight with Luke Campbell. He's go down and he can come back. I was surprised. I think he's a top level.
So he said the Luke Campbell fight impressed him, and Ryan Garcia really showed him something that night and showed him, and he was impressed, and now he considers Ryan Garcia a top level fighter. So I'm highly confused. You have two black fighters that fought back-to-back Saturday and Sunday nights. Neither one of them came close to getting stopped. Neither one of them was dropped. And you don't sound like you're really even impressed with Gervonta's rugged fighting with one hand in the back rounds. You don't seem impressed with Devin Haney controlling the ring and the tempo of the fight and making Jojo look lackluster and flat, right? And Jojo was coming off a performance with Javier Fortuna, where Javier Fortuna is a known boogeyman, and Jojo Diaz looked great versus him, but didn't look so great versus Devin Haney. Those don't impress you. But Ryan Garcia, who has been highly inactive, has done all of his talking and fighting on social media, got dropped and hurt in the second round by Lucas Campbell, who had already lost to Linares and already lost to Lomachenko. That's what impressed you. And you tell me this is an even playing field for black fighters. So you're impressed with the guy doing all the barking on social media and him getting dropped and getting back up and then coming back to stop the opponent. That's what impresses you. So Tank Davis fighting the Mexican Mike Tyson, his nickname, the Mexican Mike Tyson, who's younger than him, 23 years old, and was blocking some shots, bobbing and weaving, like he was unbothered by the Tank power to the point where he didn't get knocked out and he still kept with his game plan. And Tank had to fight the back half of that fight wounded, with the messed up hand that he later proved and showed you that. That didn't impress you. A man with 2 gold medals, who's a good fighter himself, and almost 400 amateur fights alone, you're more impressed with Ryan Garcia being dropped to the mat in round 2 in a fight that was supposed to be an easy fight for him. That's what impressed you. Bro, this is what happens when you recycle and just speak old media points. And the funny thing is, look, this is the literal screenshots from the telecast. Look at the photos they use for Tank, him getting hit in his head, like, you know, in transition to make it look like he's just getting hit with crazy shots. Look at the shots they use for Devin Haney. Devin Haney getting hit in his head, contouring, which really doesn't, it really, the fight, if you watch the fight, there were less shots like this that were even landed, especially on Devin Haney with his defense. But look, they got JoJo looking like he's teeing off on Devin. They got it looking like Isaac Cruz is just busting Tank head open. And then look at the shot they used of Ryan. He's smiling like, yeah, like, bro, come on, bro. What are we talking about? Bro, what are we talking about? So Ryan look all triumphant. This is the imagery that they want for black fighters, bro. Ryan so he had the worst showing out of the two people, the two black fighters. Tank didn't look as bad as Ryan getting dropped. And bro, Ryan got dropped and his whole arm went behind his back and he fell all crazy. And then they got Ryan looking like a Vidal Sassoon commercial. And then they got Tank looking like he getting like starched up and looking like Devin getting bodied. Come on, bro. Bro, look, they got Devin. Devin got a nice defense. He a complete fighter. And they got Devin looking like he was just getting tagged up. And then Loma on top of it is saying the Devin fight is close. Man, come on, stop it. I told you, I do my best work when my back's against the wall. So I like that. Bring that pressure. Y'all want to talk about facts and who's really biased? Oh, Igor, you're biased. Yeah. Look at the photos and video footage they using to illustrate how the Devin Haney fight looked and the Tank fight. And what's crazy is what I just said. You got to listen and pay attention. I dropped jewels. Smash the like button. What's crazy about that whole scenario is even if you're like the type of boxing fan where you don't want to see a guy get hit or whatever, and you hated Tank's performance, then Devin Haney's performance should have been right up your alley because he didn't get touched up. He wasn't badly rocked or anything. You know, different style he was in there with. But how is it that both black fighters, Loma doesn't seem too impressed with either of them, but then he talking about, but Ryan, that he impressed me.
Right, but Diaz was bigger clean punches than Haney. But of course, Haney was more aggressive.
Ryan Garcia.
You know what? He surprised me. Then I saw his fight with Luke Campbell. He's go down and he can come back. I was surprised. I think he's a top level.
So getting dropped by a Luke Campbell in his last fight before retirement, that makes you top level. And then pulling out of 2 fights. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Give me your thoughts on what you saw with Teofimo and George Kambosos.
Before the fight, I think Lopez gonna win. But it is what it is. Kambosos does a very good job, very smart job. Now he is the best in our world class because he has a belt.
So Kambosos, he got dropped as well. He dropped Tio as well. He says Kambosos, he's the best in the weight class because he got the belts. He did his job and he was impressive. So Kambosos, who almost like, you know what I'm saying? And I love George Kambosos. Y'all know that. I already told you that, right? Cool dude, everything. He told me he watched the channel too, FYI. George Kambosos was badly hurt in that one round. He showed he's a warrior and he got through it. I get it. But what I'm saying is, so 2 black fighters don't get dropped. Tank Davis and JoJo Diaz's opponent, Devin Haney. So Tank and Devin, 2 black guys, they don't get dropped against malicious styles from Mexican-American JoJo Diaz, an Olympian, and a very like rough, like kind of brutal Mexican fighter out of Mexico, and Pitbull Cruz, who's younger than Tank and a late replacement for both of them. And we seen the late replacement Ugas just whoop Pacquiao into retirement, right? They don't get dropped and they're in with difficult styles, We all know that rugged pressure style. Like, if we're really being honest, because you see, y'all ain't gonna call me names and then expect I'm just gonna go down. It ain't going down like that. If y'all want to call me biased, we gonna see what's really biased, and y'all gotta answer these questions. If we're really being honest, George Kambosos was in there with the Tio who was fighting extremely crude. He came out like trying to blaze, and he was fighting sloppy. He was fighting sloppy in them early rounds, trying to ice the man, and then that's when he got clipped up, and that set a tone, blah, blah, blah. If you look at it, the Mexican-American fighter, Joseph Jojo Diaz, did not come out. He's an Olympian, and he has experience from the Gary Russell, Javier Fortuna, Tevin Farmer fights. He didn't come out with this like crazy, I'm just going to blaze him out and I'm going to fight sloppy. It was a measured, controlled aggression, and he did what he did in the fight, and he tried, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with Pitbull Cruz. Isaac Pitbull Cruz he didn't come out with this crude, like rudimentary style for Tank Davis. He was giving Tank some different looks, and Tank was finally fighting someone shorter than him, right? Finally fighting someone shorter than him, and it wasn't even his initial opponent, so we have to keep that in mind. That's not who Tank was initially training for and had the press conference with. And Isaac Cruz, he was like using some head movement, and he was kind of sneakily fast, things like that. But Lomachenko, he's so impressed with Kambosos and Ryan Garcia. But then the two black fighters who didn't get dropped and had way different, like, I think Jojo Diaz and Pitbull Cruz, Mexican and Mexican-American, fought smarter than Teofimo. And Luke Campbell wasn't doing nothing crazy. It's just Ryan was squared up. So realistically, the two black fighters fought people where, had it not been them and their styles, they probably would have won. Jojo probably would have beat a lesser guy than Devin Haney. You know, Pitbull Cruz would have continued on his win streak if it wasn't Tank, if it was somebody else. He looked good. You know, there ain't no love lost. Versus Teofimo, he came out like a maniac, long layoff. They said he was weight drained, and he coming out trying to just take the man's head off. That's not advisable boxing. Ego bringing the real ether to Loma. I destroy these dudes, bro. Yeah, and same thing with Jermell Charlo. Thank you, Roderick. That's a great point. Another black American fighter that gets hated on. And Canelo calling Castano. When is Canelo called a black fighter and congratulated them for winning? You see, bro, you see how the game goes. Name a black fighter that Canelo done FaceTime when that person won. See, when you black, I told you got to do things 5 to 10x. You got to do it 5, 10x. Because if you don't, then you're going to get, you on the chopping block for the ultimate criticism. When is Canelo called a black fighter? Because black fighters win all the time. Like in big fights, we've seen this, you know what I mean? Or an Afro-Cuban or something, like dark skin. I'm talking about dark skin cuz. When Canelo called Rigondeaux like, oh, you beat Donaire, you know, that was dope. Or whoever the person was. Remember when Rigondeaux knocked out, he fought a Mexican fighter, and it was a super tough fight where Rigondeaux was looking kind of like he was down, and then Rigondeaux said, and then zapped the dude. Why didn't Canelo call Rigondeaux and be like, oh man, the way you zapped that dude and you was losing that fight. It was on the undercard, bro. Remember when Rigondeaux, he fought a tough Mexican dude and he was losing. And then Rigondeaux just annihilated him with like a single shot, and the fight got stopped. Man, come on, bro. Told you I'm the GOAT. I'm goated in this game. I give y'all that GOAT talk. Smash the like button. So Loma out here capping, talking about Ryan was impressive. So you more impressed with the guy from the sidelines and the guy getting dropped and Kambosos getting dropped. Like, I'm not going to say nothing bad about Kambosos because I did think he had fought a good fight, but I also thought Tio fought a horrific fight. You see what I'm saying? Like in terms of his approach to it. That's not high level boxing. Miguel Cotto versus Floyd Mayweather. That's high level boxing. Miguel Cotto didn't come out trying to annihilate Floyd and just, knock him out with crazy shots. So that was a dumb game plan by T.O. But this is what impresses Lomachenko. Now, he just done told you that a fighter like Tank Davis, a black fighter like Tank Davis, right, is not impressive. He said, is he a great fighter? He said, no, of course not. But listen to what he says about Richard Comey.
But I have my plan. I have my 3.
4 belts.
4 belts in my.
Tell me about Richard Comey. What makes him dangerous?
Tough guy. He has a power. He has experience. He has a reach, and he understands boxing.
Bro, get Loma out of here, bro. So Tank ain't a great fighter. Devin Haney didn't seem to impress you either with his style. But then they said, tell me about Richard Comey. He said, oh, yeah, Richard Comey. Oh, he's a top fighter. That's a top level guy. He has power. Okay, Tank don't got no power. He got experience. Okay, Devin Haney and Tank ain't got experience. So the guy you giving it, bro, the guy you giving it up to is Richard Comey, and he did the worst out of everyone we're talking about. Out of Richard Comey, the only thing he did was show heart, if I'm being honest. He showed heart. That's all I could give him. You lost miserably. Isaac Cruz didn't lose miserably, like where he just wasn't trying. Joseph Jojo Diaz, I wouldn't say he lost miserably. He lost for sure. Devin Haney didn't lose miserably. Tank didn't lose miserably. You see what I'm saying? The man you giving props to did the worst. So basically, the 2 fighters, non-black fighters at that, Ryan Garcia and George Kambosos, both got dropped in their fights, but you were highly impressed by both of them. 2 black fighters fought styles that were really coming to beat them, and that didn't impress you so much. Those 2 black fighters, even though you ducked one of them for sure, and that's Devin Haney, and became a franchise champion, but you were impressed with the career of black fighter Richard Comey, who got iced out by Teofimo Lopez in 2 rounds. And I'm the one that's biased, and Lomachenko's is cooking. Yeah, bro, I told you this is easy. Y'all better give me some better work. I make this game look pretty. I make it look easy. You tell me I'm the one that's biased. So we could clearly see this is just maxed out Gervonta Davis hate. It's like, I told you, it's fashionable. If you black, you a nigga, it's fashionable to hate on the nigga. It's that simple. If you a nigga, prepare for the hate. It's coming, especially in a sport like boxing. Period. Richard Comey, Loma was a boring fight to me. It was a boring fight to me. It was one-sided. Pitbull Cruz and Tank was not a boring fight because they both was trying and doing certain things good. Devin Haney and JoJo wasn't a boring fight, even though Devin, I thought, won by a landslide. It still was like somewhat quasi-competitive. Richard Comey is the only one out of that equation that I just said that just got his butt whooped and really lost almost all moments of most around. I mean, he was doing some good body shots here and there, but, I don't know enough that he was winning really any of the rounds. So the guy you just praised the most there's 3 black fighters, Comey, Tank, and Devin. The one you really showed love for and gave the most respect to happened to be the person that we know in our heart of all hearts was the one that would give you the worst fight. I mean, this is just pure insanity at this point. Now, to continue whooping y'all like I'm doing because I'm Ego Lee, I said, open your mind, be formless, be shapeless. You be like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. Do you understand I am Ego Lee? I'll beat any man in this womb in less than 60 seconds. Don't go too far, hun. It'd be over in 60 seconds. Bro, I'm destroying you. I told y'all got to be like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put water into a teapot, it becomes the pot. So let me keep going. Bro, I tell you, I could do this effortlessly. I might just get a pillow and fall asleep because I could do this in my sleep, man. when it comes to boxing, and I'm frying y'all. I'm sauteing y'all. I'm baking y'all. Whatever cooking term you want to use, y'all getting cooked, because you know who's really biased and who's really not keeping it real. So I told you I'm real surgical. Let's stay the course like I told you I was going to do. Tank Davis, more proof that he's just getting immense hate. So that's Lomachenko and ESPN and all the old media. They keep priming this narrative that Tank needs to step up in competition. Now, again, I would be able to respect what you were saying if you had a rule that applied to everybody. Case in point, I'm Neo. I'm the Matrix. I'm the one. Matrix Resurrection. I'm the one. You better call the Wachowski brothers or the Wachowski sisters, whatever they are right now. I'm the one. So if in boxing, I'll prove it. I'll beat any man in this room in less than 60 seconds. Watch how I work, y'all. I'll make this boxing look pretty, man. This will prove the double standards and prove that old media is supremely biased and they're not keeping the same energy. So Tank Davis is a huge star. I told you that. And Leonard Ellaby and Mayweather Promotion, Floyd, they all told you that. Old media is saying that Ryan Garcia has amassed this brilliant, big bonanzas following. I'll have you guys know that only one fighter, the black fighter, Gervonta Tank Davis, is being ridiculed for needing to step up. So let's take a deeper look right now. Okay, so I tweeted it. I told you, bro, I'm surgical. Ryan Garcia, this is all fact. You can do your fact checkers. I said Ryan Garcia has been out of the ring for, as of me recording this video, 346 days in a row with no plans to fight for the remainder of this year. As of me recording this video, Ryan has been out of the ring for 346 days. Old media is telling you that the black fighter, Gervonta Davis, who fought twice on pay-per-view, Mario Barrios in Atlanta, and then in LA with LeBron in the crowd. So Shaq's at one fight and LeBron's at the other fight. And that was against Isaac Cruz. He fought twice on pay-per-view in competitive fights. Barrios showed up to fight and got knocked out. And then Cruz showed up to fight and then went to scorecards. And Tank did it with the injured hand, right? So keep in mind, Ryan has not fought for 346 days. Tank has fought twice on pay-per-view. Keep in mind, the Pitbull Cruz fight was not even supposed to be his initial opponent. It was his mandatory Rolly, who's bigger than him. So old media keeps telling you that Tank Davis needs to step up in class and competition, with all criticism being directed at the black fighter with Mayweather Promotions, Gervonta Davis, whilst Ryan hasn't fought in, it'll be a year in no time. And here's my work. How many days since January 2nd, which is the day he fought against Luke Campbell? Look, Luke Campbell. You see that? You see that? January 2nd. So he fought Luke Campbell January 2nd and has not fought since. He was scheduled to fight this fight and he pulled out. He was scheduled to fight this fight against Jojo Diaz and he pulled out. So, leads me to where we're at right now. How on earth would old media fix their lips to say something to the black fighter about needing to step up, and someone who's supposed to be an equivalent star in the same division, lightweight, hasn't fought in a year? And those same people, like I said on Twitter, notice the people putting pressure on Gervonta Davis won't or don't put pressure on Ryan Garcia to fight Devin Haney when he was the mandatory, or they won't mention Ryan Garcia as an inactive fighter, wasting his career away, talking about fights that aren't happening, like Tank, Pacquiao, Fortuna, Devin Haney, JoJo, George Kambosos, Isaac Cruz, all of which none of these fights have happened. So you guys need to explain to the king of boxing how this works. How is it that Tank is the one that needs to step up as a big star and y'all ain't got no energy for Ryan Garcia? That's how you know these aren't rules. These aren't rules because a rule would apply to everybody. If the posted speed limit says 65 miles, whether you're black, white, Mexican, Chinese, Rican, boy or girl, if you have a license, that's the posted speed limit that we all have to drive at. Otherwise, you're going to get a ticket. If the CHP was only giving black people tickets, then we have a problem. So black people that go 68, 75 miles per hour get a ticket, and then some guy, white guy, drives by and he's doing 90, and then you don't give him a ticket. Now we have a problem. So again, if we have rules that are established, like, yeah, let's criticize Tank. Tank he ain't upholding his end of the bargain. How come none of these same people are saying anything to Ryan Garcia? Y'all let me know in the comment section. I'm the best in the business. I'll make the game look pretty. Roger Givens, smash the like button. If anybody else broke their hand and finished like Tank did, they'd be called a warrior. Bro, you can lose or get dropped like Ryan Garcia got dropped, or lose like Teofimo, and there's a big sob story about why you lost. And people are like, hey, don't make fun of Teofimo. Even though he talked a lot of trash, don't make fun of Teofimo. He's a warrior, you know. But Tank fought the fight with one hand for 6 rounds or whatever it was, 5, 6 rounds. And no one's saying that. So listen, I told you with this stream, I'm real surgical. Does anyone have an intelligent rebuttal to disagree with what I'm saying before I move on? I promise you I'm catching bodies, bro. There's no pressure for Ryan Garcia, who's supposed to be an equivalent big star, and he ain't fought in a year. And he pulled out of multiple fights. So, old media, they see a black fighter, and they're like, he's not holding up his end of the bargain. He's not holding up his end of the bargain. He's not fighting. He need to step up. But those same people aren't saying nothing to Ryan Garcia. And at the very least, Tank fought twice on pay-per-view, whether you liked it or not, in competitive fights. Ryan fought one time against a guy on his last fight before retiring and ain't fought in 346 days. Boop. That's how you know it's an agenda. That's how you know it's an agenda. Because again, if we got these rules, then the rules finna apply to everybody. And the moment they don't, then they're not rules, it's an agenda. Because you're only making it applicable to certain people. Shout out to Daniels, sent $1 in the Cash App. It says, just because we can, stay 100. Oh, y'all don't have to worry about that. Dana Jones said, preach, $5. Man, it's easy work. I get paid. Listen, y'all let me get paid for doing the easy work. So appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody for the support. Much love. You're not going to make this make sense, bro. I'm going to ask one more time because I got to keep it moving. I told you I'm locked in. I'm surgical. Does anyone, if y'all want me to keep going? I told you, see, some of the other streams, I know we get distracted. There's some detours, but not today. I'm not even worried about that. I'm just here to either. I come for one thing and one thing. You know what I'm here for. You know why I came. I'm here to put in that work. I came. It's like when Joe Budden was in the green room on Green Lantern, and he was like, you know where I came. I ain't come to politic and poly and chicks and stuff. I come to do one thing and one thing only, and that's the mood I'm in. So does anyone disagree with anything that I said so I could slaughter you in front of all these people? In front of whoever's watching? Does anyone understand the double standard or not understand the double standard? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Ryan Garcia is not being chastised for being a big star and not fulfilling his end of the bargain. He ain't even fighting. He's pulling out of fights. So in old media's mind, Tank Davis, a guy who's fighting bigger guys like Mario Barrios or rugged styles like Isaac Pitbull Cruz, that's what's wrong with boxing. That right there, that's what's wrong with boxing. Not a guy having 8 million more followers than Tank Davis allegedly on Instagram and pulling out of fights multiple times, saying he'll fight Pacquiao, not fighting him, saying he'll fight Camboso, hasn't happened, said Isak Cruz probably won't happen, says he's fighting against Devin Haney, hasn't happened, said he's fighting Tank, hasn't happened. That's not the problem. The problem is the nigga, Tank Davis. Nigga. That's the problem. That's what's going wrong with boxing, because nigga put a fight on Sunday against a guy who really showed up. And this is how the racists do. They talk bad about guys like Isak Cruz in front of them, but behind their back, they silent supporters. It's like people who have businesses and you have silent partners. What a silent partner is someone that's really supporting and maybe funding and fueling and giving you some money and stuff, but their name is not plastered everywhere. That's what we see in boxing. That's what a lot of these racists do. Isak Cruz, he a bum, he a cherry pick, won't. Silent partners. But then Tank fought a cherry pick, but somehow, some way, Isak Cruz in a loss goes from 25,000 Instagram followers to 170 or whatever number he's at right now. So the same people saying Tank is pressured and he needs to step up aren't doing it for Ryan Garcia, as I just established. And they're talking bad about his opponent, saying he needs to fight on top level because nigga beat them, right? And then somehow Isak Cruz is growing subs and followers overnight, but I thought he was a bum. Why is he growing? Because when I see a guy get knocked out and that I never heard of, that doesn't usually make me want to go look them up and follow them. So somebody got to be lying. When's the last time you seen somebody, like let's say you're watching fights on Telemundo or you watching just a low level card and you see somebody like an Eddie Hearn card or something and you just see some random UK dude just get knocked out in 2 rounds by Ted Cheeseman? Does that make you want to go look them up on social media and be like, oh, I'm fighting Billiam Liam? Or you just say, oh man, that was a crazy knockout and then keep it moving? So why are people all of a sudden following Isak Cruz, the cherry pick? Why is he growing subs? His subs is growing legs. I'm going to continue because I know y'all ain't got no answers like Kanye told you. I know you ain't got the answer for this. Bro, they ain't created. God has not created an answer that could deal with what I'm talking about. So I'm going to keep going. I didn't want to have to do this, but y'all made me. So I tweeted this. Follow me on Twitter at BoxingEgo. I said it is funny how Gervonta Davis, a black American fighter, is not on old media's pound for pound list. Is that cap or fact? Gervonta Davis is nowhere on the pound for pound list with major box old media imprints. Is that cap or fact? Tank Davis is not on the pound for pound list for old media, not your personal pound for pound list. I'm talking about the big Ring TV and ESPN, the supposed staples of boxing. Is that cap or fact? Tank ain't on no pay-per-view or pound for pound. He ain't on nobody's pound for pound with old media. Any old media channel or whatever, and don't say no names, you will get bucked. Any old media channel, they're not putting Tank on the pound for pound list. Is that cap or fact? Listen, y'all got 2 minutes to answer my question or I'm going to detonate the stream because I'm not playing no games. I'm not playing no games. We got to get to the actual factuals. You don't want me in this mood. Thank you. Everyone's saying facts. So peep the tweet. Funny how Gervonta Tank Davis, a black American fighter, is not on the pound for pound. He's on nobody from old media's pound for pound list. They're like, oh, hell no. I would never put Tank on. Tank Davis is 27 years old and he's highly criticized, saying, quote, Tank needs to step up his competition. Plot twist. Inoue is highly ranked on the pound for pound list of all of old media in high positions, 3, number 1, number 2, 5, whatever. Inoue's there. And he's on everybody with old media's pound for pound list. Plot twist. Inoue is a year older than Gervonta Davis. Here's another plot twist. He just fought today. How many of y'all watched it? Hand over heart, how many of y'all watched that? Hand over heart, how many of y'all watched Inoue's fight that just happened earlier today? I'm not reading nothing unless you responding to me. I told you I'm surgical. I'm tuning everything out. You gonna answer my questions. Who, hand over heart, swear to God, let's play swear to God. You watched Inoue's fight today that just happened. Okay, now we getting some answers. I didn't even know he was fighting. Alex says no. Next level says who. Next level said definitely didn't watch. I didn't even know he was fighting. Nobody. So all this energy saying Tank Davis, he flopped on a Sunday, but Inoue is on every old media pound for pound list, and he a good little fighter, FYI. But nobody watched his fight. People didn't even know. You know why you didn't know? Because Top Rank, his U.S. promoter, they had technical difficulties, and they didn't get the rights to the fight in time. They couldn't supply the fight, so nobody watched it. But if you go to boxing Twitter, where a lot of y'all think is live at, y'all saying Tank, he's a failure and all this stuff. So nigga, not even on old media's pound for pound list, Tank Davis, the nigga, right? He's not on old media's pound for pound list. He flopped, but he made a crazy live gate, and y'all don't even know his numbers. But Inoue, his own promoter, didn't pick up his fight. Let me keep cooking. I told you I'll body y'all. Here's the other fun fact. Tank Davis was born in November 1994. That makes him 27 years old. Y'all see that? Y'all see that, boy? Listen, come on, man. Y'all got to keep up. They say I talk a little fast. If you listen real fast, I ain't got to slow down. You catch up. The boy Tank Davis was born in November 7th, 1994. I'll have you know that Inoue was born April 10th, 1993. So that makes him a year older. Right? Follow. You got to follow me. So once again, baby steps. Tank Davis, a guy who LeBron James went to his fight, they're saying he flopped and he's a failure and all that. And he needs to step up in competition. And he's on no one's old media pound for pound list. Born in November 1994, current age 27. Inoue, born a year previously in April 1993, and he's age 28. So now we're already running into the agenda. Inoue is a good fighter. He has skills. He's a good little fighter. He's a year older than Tank. His own promoter didn't even televise his fight in the States for people to see. He's on everyone in old media and others pound for pound list, and he's not being criticized. Do you know, since I know y'all didn't know who he fought because you didn't even know he was fighting. So let me break that down for you. Shazam. I told you I'm the best in the business. And who was Inoue's opponent? He fought a 30-year-old with all domestic fights that came in with 2 losses. The guy had 14 fights, 2 losses, age 30. That's who he just fought tonight. Again, y'all don't know this because his own promoter, Top Rank, didn't get the fight cracking for American audiences to watch or put it on ESPN Plus for whatever reason, technical difficulties. Whereas Gervonta Davis, the nigga Davis, fought a late replacement, Isaac Cruz, who was 23 with a dangerous style, and he had more fights, 22, 1-1, including he was coming off of a fight where he clearly beat former champion Francisco Vargas right before he fought Tank. Inoue is praised by everybody, and this is who he fought. Bro, he is on everybody's pound for pound list, and this is who he fought today. That is who he fought. A guy, it wasn't 3, he just got knocked out by Inoue. So his record was 12-2. Bro, I told you I slaughter y'all. I slaughter y'all. If this ain't in the agenda, I told you by the end of the stream, if you don't see the agenda, that's on you. Because I know I'm doing my job. Bro, Inoue is on everybody's pound for pound list, and this is who he fought. He looked like a youthful Jack Ma looking ass, bro. Who is that? Alibaba. Like, bro, I ain't never seen Cud. Who is that, bro? Bro, on the set, he looked like a young Jack Ma with that haircut, bro. Who is that? He came into the fight with a 12-2 record. A 12-2 record. A 12-2 record. He got 14 fights, 2 losses. And he aged 30. Tank Davis' late replacement was 23 years old. 23 years old. And on a win streak where he bodied a guy that even Teofimo didn't body in one round, Magdaleno. So now we're starting to unlock what it really is. Inoue on everybody's pound for pound list, he can fight this random dude. Like, you could have fought someone we know, like Juntao or somebody. Juntao, like, bro, you could have fought anybody. We don't know who is that. The fight was so buns, his own promoter didn't even televise it in the U.S. This is who he fought. Boom, that's the dude. That's the dude he fought. And Tank Davis is like, oh, man. So I just showed you guys how Tank Davis is a year younger than Inoue on pay-per-view doing crazy live gates, and he fought a late replacement that was 23 with the hungry style. Inoue is a year older at age 28, which I just showed you. And he's fighting a guy 12-2, and his own U.S. promoter ain't even picking up the fight. So I gave y'all 2 different examples. Ryan Garcia, 346 days of inactivity. There's no pressure on him. Naoya Inoue is on everybody's pound for pound list, especially old media. And he won't even fight like Juntao or somebody we know. He fighting this great value Jack Ma looking dude. I don't know who that is. With a 12-2 record that's 30 years old. No criticism. All people focusing on when it comes to Inoue is how beautiful a boxer he is. How much skill he has. That's all that's ever discussed. And he is a good fighter. I love Inoue. But that doesn't excuse the fact that he just fought somebody with a 12-2 record at age 30 and he's a year older than Tank. So you guys explain it. How do you get on the pound for pound media list? Jermell Charlo, he don't get on the pound for pound list even before the Castano fight. So you can't say, oh, it's because I thought Castano beat him, because they didn't have him on the pound for pound list. He wasn't even on Ring Magazine pound for pound list, and he got the ring belt. Bro, I slaughter y'all. That's why I said, that's why people come and they like, oh, I hate Ego and he's so biased and stuff. You can't live in my world. You can't live in my world because you don't know enough. People, I think they get it misconstrued because I be joking and, you know, things like that. But when it comes to boxing knowledge, we got that all day. So you can't live in my world, bro. So when I say what I say, there's a litany of reasons why I'm saying what I'm saying. Why Ego Veli is out here cooking and saying what he's saying. You think I'm saying it because of whatever you think it is. But I can always support where I'm coming from. I'm going to ask y'all one more time, and y'all better answer me. Y'all better answer me. How is it that old media has Naoya Inoue, age 28, on everybody's pound for pound list, and he's praised and celebrated for these tenacious skills, and he's the monster. Like, he just knocked this dude out. If you go look at the comments, it's like, wow, Naoya Inoue is a monster. He is a monster. He's dope. I like him. I ain't got no problem. Even Tank gave him credit. Tank did an interview with, I think, Ellie, and he was like, Naoya Inoue, he could fight. So it's not saying it to hate on Naoya Inoue, but I'm asking you how Naoya Inoue can fight a 12-2 guy with 2 losses at age 30, and he's highly ranked, but then the nigga Davis ain't even ranked, ain't giving credit. Oh, his best win was Pedraza. He sucks. And he can't fight a late replacement 23-year-old with a difficult style who's only 23. Tank's opponent, he could beat some lightweights, and he's only 23, so he can only get better. This 30-year-old dude, he probably set in his ways. And you lost to far lesser guys than Inoue, so we knew you was going to lose to Inoue. Tank Davis, if he was a lesser fighter or didn't keep it together, especially with the hand injury, right? This dude, Isaac Cruz, could have got to you. Like, if he started to fold and break away and give away and stuff like that, Pitbull Cruz could have got to you. You know what I'm saying? Because he has that type of style. He said, I believe the correct term is racism. Now, exactly. Say less. I told you. Bro, Inoue he's a brilliant fighter, but he's 28 years old. Some people say he's number one pound for pound. This is how I know I'm still undefeated. Some people say he's number one. Old media people, they'll for sure say he's number one. He's top 3. He just fought a 12-2 guy, 30 years old. Tank Davis fought a late replacement because his other opponent, Rolly, got in legal trouble, who was younger than him with a vicious style, coming off a win streak and a great style. So please tell me how 27-year-old Tank, they even said it on the Lomachenko fight, ESPN, they said take the training wheels off of Tank Davis. I think it was Bernardo Osuna that said it. Take the training wheels off Tank Davis, but not near nobody is saying anything. Take the training wheels off of Inoue, and he's a beast. We know that, but he fighting a guy 12-2, age 30, huh? Block buckwheat. I don't care about you or 3 people that look just like you. When they hate, donate. I'm spending 0 time on a guy named Buckwheat. Shout to Mickey. Tank is fighting undefeated fighters too. We already know. You don't got to tell me. Shooters, eliminate Buckwheat. Get him. Thank you. I told y'all, ain't nobody in boxing got no answers. They ain't got no answers. See, I make you question, but ain't nobody got no answers. Tank Davis is a year younger than Inoue, and he's held to the grandiose standard. And it's funny, the nigga Tank Davis, he's not even on the pound for pound list. So you mean to tell me that you have a higher quality standard for a nigga who's not on a pound for pound list than a non-black fighter who is on the pound for pound list? Does that make any sense to anybody? Or is this what I said it was? Old media, racist bigots, an agenda, propaganda. For example, I used to work at Best Buy, right? Best Buy, they moved me because I kept promoting. So they moved me to the TV department. Then I did my thing over there, and they're like, man, this dude is good. He could sell. Listen, I'm like Sam, I could sell. Listen. So they moved me to not just TVs, but they wanted me to go to the Magnolia. So in the Best Buy retail world, Magnolia was the higher end stuff. It got its own room and own tags. So if you get a Magnolia HDMI cord, it's significantly more than the Dynex or, the Best Buy brand, right? It was their higher end stuff. So the point I'm making at Best Buy is you're like, oh, come on, Ego, get to the goddamn, why are you talking about Best Buy? Let me explain. Best Buy would separate their high end from just their regular. So you go in the Magnolia room, the HDMIs and the TVs and the receivers are significantly more expensive than just the regular standard TVs or receivers or HDMI cables. Old media tells you that Inoue and certain fighters are Magnolia, the high end of boxing. But they hold them to a lesser standard. You would think that in any reasonable business, the higher end product would be held to a higher standard, right? Like, okay, I'm spending $10,000 on this stereo receiver. It needs to come with some type of warranty or some kind of troubleshooting because I'm spending $10,000 as opposed to buying this $300 one, regular Best Buy one. But only in boxing, because these dudes is racist, that they'll say Triple G is the high end, Inoue is the highest end in boxing, and won't give credits to black fighters oftentimes, like Jermell Charlo and Tank. They won't even put them on the pound for pound list. But the people that they don't put on the pound for pound list, somehow, some way, they're holding to a higher standard. Tank Davis, he ain't on nobody from old media's pound for pound list, but you're criticizing who he's fighting. Meanwhile, Inoue is a year older than him, just fought a 30-year-old that no one's ever heard of. It don't matter that he's in the lower weight class. You fighting a 30-year-old with a 12-2 record. He got 14 fights. But there's no criticism for that. And Inoue will continue to get praise. He'll continue to get praise. I swear you should the sport of boxing. I don't know what that means. Y'all, listen, I'm focused. I don't know. You misspelled something. I don't know what that means. So you would think that if someone is saying something is higher, that it would have like a higher warranty, you know, higher quality assurance. Like, man, we're charging people $10,000 for this TV or whatever, that it would be everything. All is going to, like, for example, this is just standard in any business practice, right? The more expensive, like if you get a car and you get the luxury edition of the car, right? Like, let's say you get Nissan Altima and then you get the luxury version of the Nissan. Then guess what? The higher end Nissan Altima is going to have powered steering, power windows, the backup camera. Is going to have the bells and whistles, right? Except for in boxing, where they're extremely racist. So Tank Davis is itted on, and he's highly criticized and disregarded as a true great fighter and all this stuff. And Inoue is the polar opposite. Inoue is considered the best that boxing has to offer and all that, but you're not holding him to no kind of standard. So that doesn't make sense. Why would the quality assurance be higher for certain fighters, especially black fighters, that they don't put on pound for pound list than the guy that you're saying Canelo or Triple G or Inoue or Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, that you are saying are the best that boxing has to offer? It's not adding up. It's not adding up. If I'm paying more for a car, there has to be some type of differentiating factors that make me spend the extra money for the higher model car. Other than that, if it's a downgrade, then why would I spend more money on it? You see how that works? Even in software, I deal with a lot of software because of my business. If you have a software and they have the 2021 version of the software you have, and then they're like brand new 2022 software, $90 to upgrade. You got to tell me why I get Adobe Premiere Pro and upgrade from Adobe Premiere Pro 2021 to Adobe Premiere Pro 2022. There has to be something you've changed or implemented. Otherwise, I'll just rock with what I got and not pay anything. See how that works? But only in the sport of boxing is it reverse, crisscross, flip-flop. The guys they're telling you don't sell should never be placed on a pound for pound list, get held to the highest standard. Deontay Wilder, Errol Spence, Gervonta, Jamal Charlo. And then the guy like Inoue, he can do whatever he wants. And he is praised. Triple G, he hasn't even fought this year. You understand that, right? Triple G ain't fought one time this year. No pressure. Ryan Garcia fought in the second day of January. Hasn't fought in 346 days. No pressure. But the guy who's actively fighting, Tank Davis, it's all the pressure in the world. It's all the criticism in the world. Devin Haney, it's all the pressure in the world. It's all the criticism. What is the common denominator, bro? Devin Haney just stepped up. Y'all told Devin Haney, we'll get off the Tank. It's the same thing. Nigga Haney. Y'all told him to step up, fight someone top 10. He fought Jorge Linares, somebody top 10, annihilates him, beats him easy. He fought another top 10 guy, Joseph Jojo Diaz, who was coming off a great performance against a boogeyman of sorts at 135, Javier Fortuna, where he easily beat, or he made it look pretty easy, the Javier Fortuna. Gave a lot of credit to JoJo for that. Devin Haney called him out. He said Eddie's going to match the money. He fights him, beats him easy. Then you got guys in ESPN and guys like Lomachenko telling the whole world that he's not really that impressed with neither Tank nor Devin Haney. What really impressed him is Kambosos getting dropped and then winning versus Teofimo, and another non-black fighter, Ryan Garcia, fighting one time and then going to social media hiding. That's what impressed him. That's what impresses him the most. Roll the clip.
This was supposed to be the year that the young guys took over the lightweight division, took over boxing. What happened?
It's a boxing, that's why we love boxing. Nobody knows what happened. I think now it's a more interesting weight classes in the world.
Who's the best lightweight?
We don't know because we didn't fight each other.
What did you see in Tank Davis and Isaac Cruz?
Now I understand why his promoter, Floyd Mayweather, don't wanna organize a fight with the other top fighters.
So is Tank Davis a great fighter?
No, of course not.
What about Devin Haney and Jojo Diaz?
It was a close
Is Tank Davis a great fighter? No, of course not, said Lomachenko.
Mayweather don't wanna organize a fight with the other top fighters.
So is Tank Davis a great fighter?
No, of course not.
What about Devin Haney and Jojo Diaz?
It was a close fight, but Diaz was bigger clean punches than Haney. But of course, Haney was more aggressive.
Ryan Garcia.
You know what?
Devin Haney, he says JoJo was landing the better punches, but Devin Haney was just the aggressor. But listen to what he says about Ryan Garcia. Very interesting.
He surprised me. Then I saw Haney. But of course, Haney was more aggressive.
Ryan Garcia.
You know what? He surprised me. Then I saw his fight with Luke Campbell. He's go down and he can come back. I was surprised. I think he's a top level.
Give me your thoughts on what you saw.
So he said Ryan's top level for getting dropped. But Tank ain't a great fighter. Devin Haney barely won.
Ryan Garcia.
You know what? He surprised me. Then I saw his fight with Luke Campbell. He's go down and he can come back. I was surprised. I think he's a top level.
Give me your thoughts on what you saw with...
Getting dropped makes you a top level. All right. Okay. Okay, Loma. So that's what I told you. The hate is clear. The hate is clear. And it was coincidentally 2 black fighters you don't seem too impressed. And then one of the black fighters you could have fought, Devin Haney for sure, and you vacated and went to the franchise designation or whatever because your team requested it per Mauricio Suleiman. But Devin Haney, you acting like it wasn't that impressive. You see the games in boxing, people. You see the games being played. So Ryan getting dropped and then hiding out and anxiety and stuff, that's highly impressive to you. And that makes Ryan, he just said Ryan's top level because he got dropped by a guy on his last fight before retirement. All right.
Fight with Luke Campbell, he's go down and he can come back. I was surprised. I think he's a top level.
He said he's top level.
Give me your thoughts.
Listen what he said about Kambosos.
On what you saw with Teofimo and George Kambosos.
Before the fight, I think Lopez gonna win, but it is what it is. Kambosos does a very good job, very smart job. Now he is the best in our world class because he has a belt.
He said Kambosos is the best. So basically, Lomachenko is not going to talk up the black fighters because he ain't fighting them, and he has no plans of fighting them. So he's going to build up Ryan Garcia and George Kambosos even more so because he likes the style. It's all too apparent. It's all too apparent. It's all too apparent. So let's push out this agenda, bro. That man said Ryan's top level because he got dropped by a... See, and a lot of times fighters have this... Y'all say I'm biased, but a lot of times fighters have this bias where they shared the ring with the guy. So their depiction of that guy in other fights is completely skewed. That's what's funny. You're like, oh, Boxing Ego, you're so biased. And then the fighters that shared the ring with the particular guy, that guy goes on to fight someone else, and they look at that guy because they shared the ring together. They look at that guy as like, to make them look better, they try to make it look like that's like crazier of a win, or in a controversial fight, like, oh, the guy I shared the ring with won, because you want to make yourself look better in the background. You know what I'm saying? Loma fought Luke Campbell, so he wants to prop Ryan Garcia because that's a mutual opponent. So it makes more sense for you to prop Ryan up for stopping the guy, you know what I mean? Saying, oh, hey, that impressed me. Get Loma out of here, bro. That man. And then the other thing is this: who appointed Loma as like the end all be all, bro? You got less than 20 fights. You got 16 fights and 2 losses. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Get him out of here, bro. You got 16 fights and you already got 2 losses.
This was supposed to be.
And listen how he talks about Richard Comey.
Easy, man.
Tell me about Richard Comey. What makes him dangerous?
Tough guy. He has a power, he has experience, he has a reach, and he understands boxing.
He said Richard Comey is a top guy because he has power and experience and he understands boxing. So Tank Davis, you want me to believe, is not a great fighter, but Richard Comey in 2021, because you're fighting him, you want me to believe that he's exceptional at this point?
Plan, I have my goal, 135 lightweight world championship. That's it.
What if he had 2 belts?
I don't need 2, I had 3.
4 belts.
4 belts in 130. Of course I go down. Easy, man.
Tell me about Richard Comey. What makes him dangerous?
Tough guy. He has a power, he has experience, he has a reach, and he understands boxing.
And just for ish and giggles, this is what he said about Shakur Stevenson. He said there's no reason for me to fight Shakur Stevenson, who also said, Bob Arum said he wants to make the fight. Shakur said he'll take the fight. And this is his excuse to not fight Shakur. Another top talent. So, bro, get Loma out of here, please. So there's 3 youthful, completely different stylistic black fighters, all with different skills, from Gervonta to Devin Haney to Shakur. And every time you're asked about those 3 supremely talented brothers that are young and youthful in their prime, right? Or getting to their prime, or whatever you want to call it, you don't sound too impressed or too pressed to fight with them or their performances or whatever. But then you're talking up a 36-year-old Richard Comey who Teofimo made do the stanky leg, and Richard Comey almost lost to Robert Easter in the 12th round. And when he fought on that PBC card, people were calling Richard Comey a cherry-picked bum. And this is what impresses Loma. Listen what he says about Shakur, y'all. This is pure hate.
Everybody scared said his name.
Garcia, Davis, Haney, Kambosos. Do you think any of those guys, most of them young guys, are going to fight you?
Now I don't have a title, and it's a big risk for them. I have a history in boxing, in professional boxing. I am a 3-weight world champion. That's why if you want to be on the top level, you need to take a fight with me.
I remember the day you sparred Shakur Stevenson. Would you fight him?
I don't have a problem fight anybody, but I have my plan, I have my goal, 135 lightweight world championship. That's it.
What if he had 2 belts?
I don't need 2, I had 3.
4 belts.
4 belts in 130. Of course I go down.
Lomachenko says Shakur got to have 4 belts for him to fight him. Bro, get Loma out of here, please. So this is how you know this is all duckage. Premature ducking, exactly. So let me get this straight. Bob Arum says he wants Loma versus Shakur, whether you believe that or not. We know Shakur wants to fight, right? ESPN asked you about fighting Shakur, and you say he has to have 4 belts at the previous division for you to go back down. So in boxing, there's many ways to duck a fight. That's one of them. You can have high purse demands that you know won't be met or matched. Like if I'm like, yeah, I'll fight Wilder, give me $100 million cash, and then pay-per-view 60%. Nobody's going to do that. So it's not going to happen. So in saying that, no, that's not going to happen. Right? It's that simple. Now, same thing with the Shakur thing. Loma just said he'll fight Shakur only if he has all 4 belts. Shakur is a beast. He can't even get Oscar Valdez in the ring. He can't even get his own promoter to get Oscar Valdez in the same weight class to fight him in a unification. How are you going to get all 4 belts? How can he get all 4 belts and he's having difficulty in 2 weight classes tracking down Oscar Valdez for obvious reasons? So Loma is basically just ducking, and he knows that it's not. You know how long it'll take for Shakur to get every single belt in his weight class, especially when Bob Arum's saying, "Oh, we want to make Navarrete move up and fight Valdez for an all Latino barn burner or whatever it's supposed to be." I'm just saying, bro. They're like, come on, bro. So basically, that's the way out of the fight. So Devin Haney, a talented black fighter, you franchise out so you don't have to fight him. Tank Davis, you lie and say he's not a great fighter. Shakur, you say the only way you'll look back in that direction is if he has all 4 belts and he's undisputed at 130. And he just moved up and he can't even get the Valdez unification, let alone 3 more belts. I mean, it's easy as day to see. And the funny thing is this. The funny thing is this. With Top Rank and ESPN and the little spin jobs that they try to do, like fighter lose, oh, his shoulder was hurt, he broke a butt cheek, all that, all the injuries and all that. The little spin job that they try to explain away Loma's loss, which fans don't care about, right? Remember when Wilder made excuses? Y'all said, oh, shut up. Take it like a man. You know, all that stuff. The funny thing is this. Loma's in between a rock and a hard spot because let Top Rank and ESPN tell it. They say he's not really a lightweight. They say, man, Loma, he's just so small, which is cap because he fought over 131 pounds in the amateurs. But this is what they're going with. ESPN and Top Rank, if you look it up, have said that Lomachenko is too small. That's why fights are always dangerous at lightweight because he's not a real lightweight. Okay, move back down to 130 since you're not a true lightweight and fight Shakur. Why does he have to have all 4 belts for you to make that fight? So let me get this straight. Lomachenko lost to Teofimo. They weren't smart enough to put a rematch clause in there, so you lost all your belts. So you'll fight Nakatani, who nobody probably even really watched that fight except for hardcore boxing fans. And judging by the Richard Comey, it wasn't exceptional numbers either. Those guys don't have belts, so you won't fight beltless, or you will fight beltless Comey, beltless Nakatani. You have no belt, but Shakur got to get a belt for you to fight him. And not only does he have to get a belt, he has to have all 4 and be undisputed for you to fight him. Come on, bro.
Why?
I don't know. I think he's a top level.
Give me your thoughts on what you saw with Teofimo and George Kambosos.
Before the fight, I think Lopez gonna win, but it is what it is. Kambosos does a very good job, very smart job. Now he is the best in our world class because he has a belt.
Everybody talks on social media, but no one calls you out. Why?
I don't know. One guy, right. Nobody called Loma because Loma now like a Voldemort from Harry Potter. Voldemort is a man.
He says, so ESPN lying, Mark Kriegel lying, said no one's willing to call you out. How come? He says some dumb stuff. I'm Voldemort from Harry Potter. So no one called you out, but I have audio of Devin Haney calling you out after his fight when he was ranked in the WBC and he could have fought you, and your team reached out to fight Nakatani. I mean, it's just all lies, bro.
It is what it is. Kambosos does a very good, smart job.
Listen.
Now he is the best in our world class because he has a belt.
Everybody talks on social media, but no one calls you out. Why?
I don't know.
Bro, he lying. He said no one calls you out. Listen, I'm going to ask you, bro, I'm going to ask y'all, let's vote. Let's vote. Cap or fact? No one has called Lomachenko out. Cap or fact? Let me know if this is why I created this game for you guys. Is that cap or is that fact? No one is willing to call Lomachenko out to fight. Is it cap or is it fact? That's all. Don't get creative. Just tell me if it's cap or if it's fact. One of those two words. Or you could put a cap. That's dope. Okay, look, everyone's saying it's cap. Devin Haney on numerous occasions has called Lomachenko out. Is that cap or fact? Devin Haney has called out Lomachenko numerous times. Is that cap or fact? Fact. Okay, so Loma's saying, and ESPN is telling you no one's willing to call out Loma, but y'all saying that Devin Haney did call him out, which we all know is the truth. Bro, it's looking bad for old media, bro. It's looking bad, man. Y'all got to do something. Y'all got to do something. Y'all drowning out here. Y'all drowning. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why my channel exists. We're not with all that propaganda, lies, and, we dispel the myths. I debunk the myths. Y'all know y'all lying. Y'all know y'all lying. Electric fence. Y'all know y'all lying. Has Shakur Stevenson ever called out Lomachenko? Hold on. Let me rephrase it. Shakur Stevenson has called out Lomachenko. Cap or fact? Shakur Stevenson has called out Lomachenko, cap or fact, saying he wants to fight. Everybody's saying fact. So how is ESPN trying to spin this narrative that no one, bro, this is what I'm saying. This is horrible programming. It's horrible programming because you're trying to program. You're trying to paint a picture that's not true. That's not the way of the samurai. That's not the way boxing should be. You can't say a guy, no one's willing to call you out, and then I can think of multiple guys. Tank even called him out, to be honest. Right? I can think of people, and you're trying to paint this narrative that, bro, all that Lomachenko, high-tech, matrix, that shit, that's dead, bro. That's dead. No one even care about, like, when Loma's fighting. I didn't even know he was, like, I forgot it was his fight week. I'm just being real, bro. I'm the realest in the game. We get paid handsomely. It's just what it is. Now, hopefully, I've done a good job of explaining the different types of hate and the double standards that we see. Recap. Inoue, he's a year older than Tank, and he just fought a 12-2 guy. His own promoter didn't televise for whatever reason. But Tank needs to step up and fight somebody good and all that stuff. And keep in mind, even with the Inoue, who I do think is a good fighter, bro. Inoue, when he fought Donaire like lucked his way out through the World Boxing Super Series because of mishap, injuries and pullouts and stuff like that. So that's how he even got to the finals. If you know boxing, which y'all don't, right? That's how he even got to the finals, is like a bunch of series of mishaps for his opponents, Zozo, Zolani, Tete and all that, right? And Ryan Burnett. Y'all don't know. That's why I don't even like talking boxing with some people, because I know you don't even know what y'all saying. But anyway, so he was considered, people at the time, even though Donaire just won and he looked great and all that, people at the time considered Donaire like washed. And he gave Inoue a tough fight, broke his jaw in the orbital. You know what I'm saying? Broke his jaw in his orbital and all types of stuff. So it's like Donaire after kind of resurrected himself and even said on that the bio, he says, you know, a couple of years ago I wasn't really committed fully, like I was complacent or whatever he said. He said something to this effect. I was complacent. So Donaire, who was considered washed at the time, he had to find himself again and resurrect himself. And then now he's been doing well for himself again after he dropped back down in weight and blah, blah, blah. And that's what it is. And he gave Inoue a tough fight. So Inoue's best win is a Donaire that's not even in his prime. And I can't even say Donaire, even though he's winning again, I can't say Donaire's in his prime. You know what I'm saying? His prime was when he was sparking out Vic Darchinyan and Montiel and stuff like that. Inoue fought today and nobody watched it. But old media is saying Tank flopped. All right. So, yeah, this is why Tank Davis is getting so much hate. You see Lomachenko hating on even Devin Haney, trying to stall out Shakur Stevenson. And see, this is what's happening, bro. Top Rank is trying to make a major play for Lomachenko versus George Kambosos. So it's going to be interesting to see what Kambosos does. Top Rank wants that. Top Rank wants that. Lomachenko wants that. Because, see, bro, this is my honest opinion. I'm just giving my honest opinion, honest to God. Top Rank, like some of their culture or belief system is passé. It's like archaic. That's my honest opinion. It's archaic. Some of the ways they go about like moving the culture, they're still like on, like when boxing was on the radio type of culture. You see what I'm saying? Sonny, listen, hit him on the left, hit him on the right. And it's like, that's what they try to sell you on. They try to sell you on the belts and the glory and Mark Kriegel trying to make you cry on ESPN and all this weird stuff, poems and soliloquies. And it's like, they haven't like necessarily redefined for like a newer generation of fight fans. You see what I'm saying? So it's like the whole Top Rank culture that I see is just like they're trying to hype up like Loma and certain people, a lot of Eastern European fighters, and they're trying to use it with the belts. So if you notice, a lot of the old media writers, they almost every article they pin is almost like they work with Top Rank closely, like all the deadline writers, and that's kind of their lane. That's kind of the Top Rank lane is like we control the narrative of what deadline writers are saying. And they usually be on our side, and they'll put out these pound for pound lists. Like there's never a time where there's no pound for pound list fighters that Top Rank has on the top 10 list. At all times, it's going to have top rank fighters. Crawford, Lomachenko, Inoue, Josh Taylor. They're always going to make sure. So they stuff you with that. And it's just a far cry from what's reality because all that pound for pound and belt, we're moving into an era, Jake Paul making more money than a champion. There could be a guy who's a champion, skilled. We're in a different times, you know, so that's not going to work. And I think that's what they're looking for Lomachenko. They're looking for Lomachenko to fight George Kambosos, right? So he can get belts, so they can say, hey, you know, we got all the belts, so Loma's the best again. But he's also a guy with 16, 17 fights, 2 losses. So it's not going to make him lit. But to me, I believe the Top Rank culture is still, you know, in the 90s or whatever, to the point where they're trying to sell you on the belts and storylines and stuff like that. And it's so far. Like even like real talk, Tyson Fury, he beat Wilder. He knocked him out in the 3rd fight, right? And he still didn't become like an American star like that. You see what I'm saying? Like now without Wilder, who's Tyson Fury can he even fight in America? They said he's big in America. Name someone he could fight in America on pay-per-view. That they would actually make. Don't say like, oh, Joshua, because that doesn't even make sense to put in America. You would take that to Saudi or UK or somewhere. So all that belts and all that, the game is oversaturated with belts anyway. People ain't looking at a fighter worth based on just belt. You think LeBron James, like, first of all, this is how I know what I'm saying is true. No disrespect to Bronny, but do you really think that LeBron James could like identify all the belts in like WBAs and WBO, IBO, WBC, and in like World Boxing Council? You think he knows all that? Like, especially if I didn't use the acronym. If I said the World Boxing Council, would he know what I'm talking about? Would he know that's the WBC? Would he know the international boxing? You know what I mean? Like, would he know these things? Probably not. And that's not an insult. It's just boxing is a niche sport. So guess what? He's still pulling up to Tank's fights, though. He wants to see what he wants to see, and he thinks he can get it out the Tank fight. So no matter what Top Rank or Eddie Hearn or whoever says, that's not going to make a star. Like someone like Josh Taylor. I personally think Josh Taylor is a beast. I think he's a dope fighter. I think he got a lot of skills, you know, and he has a good style. But you look at his fight with Jose Ramirez, it was badly promoted. It didn't even really do crazy numbers. And that was for all the marbles and a good fight on paper. Boxing is a niche sport. Tank Davis fight at Isak Cruz, blow that out the water in terms of profit. And y'all hating on Tank on top of that. And saying, oh, you got a fake belt, you're weak, you suck. None of that matters. And old media still doesn't get it. Like, they really don't get it. They really don't get it. They think they going to control the narrative through deadline media and stuff. Like Digital Mob ain't around. Man, the money keep coming in. Okay. We got a $5 Cash App. Okay. This one is from Jordan Smith. He said, preach, this is all facts, ego. I told y'all, I come to work. Tank got the most money at the whole division. That's what I'm saying. And even though there's people like Lomachenko and entities like ESPN and Eddie Hearn keep mentioning it, you're just making them bigger. You're just making them bigger. Just like me. The haters be like, I got people that really rock with my channel, like on some real life, like they got me in the streets type of thing. You see what I'm saying? I got real life support like that. But then I also got people that really don't like the channel. But guess what? It all makes me more money. It all makes me better. And it all gets the brand talked about. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going out looking for that, you know, but if it comes, it comes, you know? So at the end of the day, people are like, oh, that Boxing Ego guy sucks. Yeah, you just turning people onto my channel. Because when you say my name, like Destiny's Child, when you say my name, it's going to make somebody curious, or someone's going to read the comment and be like, who's this Boxing Ego? And then they're going to check it out for themselves and determine what they feel about me or the channel or the quality. And then we're going to keep it rocking. And then some people, just some people, may not be everybody, they see them hateful comments and like, they get curious. Curiosity. Americans are curious in general. Curiosity killed a cat. They're going to look at it and be like, oh, who's this Boxing Ego? Let me check it out. And then they hear me hit the impressions or like something about the channel. You know, they hear that Mike Tyson. You know, I'm the best fighter in the world. I'm so flabbergasted. They hear that and they're like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. I like him. So anyway, it comes back full circle, and it all comes back to the greats like myself, like Gervonta, like Floyd. It's always going to come back to that. You know what I'm saying? I'm the god of boxing talk, so I ain't worried about it. I'm the best ever. There's nobody that match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. I'm just ferocious. I want his heart. I want to eat it. I want to eat his kids, bro. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to Connor Webster. Let's get it. Best boxing channel I watch. For real. Haters make you money. You ain't never lied with that. So happy holidays. I had to cook. I told you, I've been doing them 2-a-days. I've been making them look easy. So I got more content coming. I'm just working. We're going to close the year strong. Shout out to all my regulars. Isaiah, Business Brain, Prince Savage, WCPB, everybody, Sam. But old media, they don't get it. They getting slaughtered. And they don't understand that at the end of the day, all that hate and stuff, you're just making Tank more of a thing or whatever you're trying to hate on. And here's the thing. All that energy that ESPN telecast spent on the man Gervonta Davis, he might be in Jamaica or the Bahamas or buying a new watch or a new chain and whatever he's doing. But I'm sure it's something probably lit. Meanwhile, that same energy that you on ESPN and Top Rank use to hate on a black American fighter in America with an American broadcaster, maybe, this is just a thought, but maybe spend some of that Tank hate energy promoting your own product. Because we just decided, when I asked y'all and y'all didn't know that their pound for pound great Naoya Inoue was fighting today, they didn't even have Top Rank and ESPN. They didn't even showcase the fight. So this is the guy that's must-see TV, but you don't even have his fight. So instead of hating on Tank, maybe you should have worked with the Japanese camera crew or whatever the case may be and worked out the technicalities, I guess, the technical difficulties to air his fight, since he's must-see TV and he's a good fighter with skill. But they rather dedicate portions of Lomachenko's telecast to hating on a black American fighter on a Ukrainian fight card that no one's really watching. You know, the same could be said with, there's a great Top Rank fight is on. Y'all don't even know it's coming on this Friday. So let me tell you, and that's Artur Beterbiev versus Marcus Brown. I love it. I think it's a great fight, but I also think, just like Crawford Porter and Loma Kome, these fights are just coming with no promotion behind them, very little promotion, you know, very little buzz, no matter what the fight is. I like the fight. But how many of y'all knew that Artur Beterbiev and Marcus Brown were fighting this Friday? It's their fight week. How many of y'all knew that? Hand over heart, how many of y'all knew that? Hand over heart, how many of y'all knew it was fight week for a Top Rank ESPN show, Artur Beterbiev versus Marcus Brown? Okay, Business Brain said no. Sam knew. Isaiah knew. I didn't know any of them were fighting. I just found out days ago. I knew it was a fight, but I didn't know the date at all. See, that's what I'm saying. So, okay, Prince Savage knew. I didn't know it. See, that's what I'm saying. It's a great fight, no promotion. Now, I heard through the grapevine that Artur Beterbiev, he's on his last fight with Top Rank. So maybe that's why they're not promoting. I don't know. I haven't really seen the monster promotion. So all I'm saying is we can grow the sport of boxing, but hating is not the key. You know, all that hate, all that, like, you never see me spend energy hating on people because I got so much. It's 24 hours in a day. We all got the same 24. I'm one person. I got to get stuff done. I don't got time to hate on worry about what the next person's doing. So how is Lomachenko, you preparing for a fight, ESPN, you go doing the Lomachenko broadcast. He's supposed to be this generation's Muhammad Ali and all this other cap stuff, right? And you worried about Tank on the whole telecast. And then meanwhile, Crawford Porter got promoted poorly. Marcus Brown and Beterbiev is a great fight, promoted poorly. It's a mixed bag. A lot of people don't know. Inoue, I know no one knew he was fighting. So it's like, how do you have energy? And it just makes you look bad if you got energy for hate, but you don't got energy to promote. Man, it couldn't be me, bro. Imagine if I did videos hating, but I wasn't putting out no regular content. Them paychecks, I promise you, ain't gonna hit the same. If I did videos and the video was just hating on other YouTube channels versus me doing my job and doing what I'm best at, covering this beautiful sport of boxing, if I focus on that, then I can't focus on this. And if I focus on that, then at least at the bare bones minimum, I can't focus on this fully. So message, I don't worry about, long story short, moral of the story, I don't really worry about what other people are doing. I worry about me. I worry about getting this bag. I worry about getting to the finish line. The marathon continues. I'm out. Everybody have a good day. You did.